Welcome to The Project. Tonight, Australia's roads in crisis. Potholes putting drivers at serious risk. With an election around the corner, could it be the cause of a government breakdown?
Plus, it's a big old budget bonanza. We are breaking it down in a way that's almost fun.
It's a bold promise. Plus, we chat to superstar Camila Cabello. Then, Taskmaster Tom Gleeson drops in.
And our brave bloke has scared away a ferocious black bear in his backyard. You will not believe how, but I reckon he tried talking to it about golf, because that always makes my girlfriend leave the room.
Yep, same thing. We are live from the lands of Cooler Nation with Nick Cody.
G'day, g'day.
Oh, that was a strong g'day then.
Was it?
Manly. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Finally. I've done it. I've put my stamp on this show.
He's a bear of a man. Nice to have you, Nick. Let's get into it. And it's the day after budget night, which means shaking off the economic hangover and doing the walk of shame back to your tax bracket. So a quick vibe check, everyone. How are we all feeling after last night? Weird?
I think they're slightly out of touch.
Yeah, I welcome a tax cut.
It's not as good as it should be, is it?
This budget is our plan for a new generation of prosperity in a new world of uncertainty.
With global trade wars now a thing and an election just around the corner, the Treasurer has offered the taxpayer a little budget sweetener. Queen Elizabeth! Yes, the government's new tax break will give those earning $45,000 and up $268 back next year, which is about $5 per week. Then $536 the following year, which is another $5.
It's just a rounding error for families.
I'll take any money I can get. I'll take $5, I'll take $1.
I wouldn't even notice it was there. It'd be in my fuel tank and gone before I knew it.
Well,
I'll take the $5.
I'll take $5, yeah.
Maybe we'll save it up for Lego, hey man?
Look, it might buy him a coffee or a baby Chino, but unfortunately doesn't help with some of the bigger bills.
But it wasn't just the crisp prawn. There was also a broadening of eligibility for the first home buyers grant, $150 wiped off power bills, and almost $8 billion to Medicare to boost bulk billing services.
I like Labor with the health, the pharmaceutical benefits, being a bit older now.
The energy thing, because that's significant.
But not everyone was happy.
It's probably one of the worst budgets for small business in recent years.
More dollars for everyone except people with the very least.
Why are you pushing a species to the brink of extinction? Prioritise nature.
The government sure sounded optimistic in its economic outlook, hence the tax cuts, which today passed the lower house. But not before the strangest ever battle of pop culture references, with Dutton reaching back to 80s sketch comedy.
And there was a great character on the comedy company, Uncle Arthur.
Come on in, you come. Good to see you young kids.
There he was, floating around, rambling around.
And the PM offering whatever this is.
Mr. Speaker, they are Delulu with no Salulu.
That's either Gen Z speak for delusional, or he's referring to the Queensland town of Delulu in the electorate of Flynn, which is held by the LNP. So, correct? So between the cool slang and weekly flat white fiver, will this budget have what it takes to move voters?
No. This cost me $5.20.
Water's crazy expensive, as a side note.
That's what you took from this.
Sorry, we're getting $5 and that guy's onto it.
The
Right?
whole budget. How much is it going to cost for me to have water at a nightclub? That's what I need to know, Elbow. No, it sounds bad, but if you break $5 a week sounds bad. But over a year, it's over $250, which sounds great.
That's good money.
If you split your Christmas presents week by week over the year, it sucks.
Yeah.
You get them all in one go, boom. That's how are you looking at it?
So really...
the pandas in Adelaide are getting more than us.
They're getting the big money as well.
Well, the pandas aren't getting it. I want to be clear about that. The zoo's getting it.
Okay,
to look
$5 million
after the
over. Well, you know, what is it? Bamboo. It's really going up.
Yeah, it is.
So it's inflation.
Inflation hits everything.
Yeah.
The tax cut thing is interesting politically because it's sort of one of those things. It's not much, but they get to say tax cut,
and that's exciting.
And then what does the opposition do about that? Are they going to reject a tax cut, or are they? It sounds like they'll come up with some response. I don't know. Yeah. But the big thing that, because everyone's talking about tax cut, is the amount of debt Australia now has. So we're crossing $1 trillion. And
let's go.
Let me.
Come on, Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
It's not that kind of sport, Nick. It's more like golf. We want it to be low.
All right.
But this graph is not the amount of debt. This is just the interest on the debt.
Whoa.
So 23.9 billion 2024, and it goes up to 41.7 billion. Now, that just sounds like ridiculous numbers. So can I put that in some context?
Did Australia get payday loans?
It seems that way, yeah.
That's insane.
The second graph, that second line next to the amount of interest is how much we spend on medical services. So that's like Medicare plus other stuff.
Wow.
And the amount of interest we're spending is getting close to...
All right.
It is just a huge.
All right, let's work together. No one gets sick until 2028.
We'll bring that down.
Yeah, let's bring this down.
Now, the other big news out of this year's budget is that for the first time, influencers were invited to yesterday's media lockup. Some of them even had their expenses, including travel, paid for by the federal government, we understand. All up, there were 13 content creators covering budget issues.
You know better than anyone in Australia right now what gives you hope for the next generation, not just as a politician but as a person.
I'm optimistic that if we seize the opportunities which are there, Australia can have an even stronger future.
Well, that was Millie Rose Bannister grilling the PM, one of the 13 content creators, and she joins us now. Millie, it was your first time in budget lockup. What did you make of it all?
It was a memorable experience, to say the least. If I ever wanted to work in politics, this would be a great little insight into what it actually feels like to be locked up without contact to the outside world.
Yeah, wow. Now, you're an advocate for better mental health, which is very important, but I would have thought reading hundreds of pages of budget documents would be the worst thing you could ever do for your mental health.
Fair point.
Yeah, not having access to the internet is probably the worst thing you could do for my mental health.
Oh, really? I thought it was the opposite. No access to the internet is the best thing you could do for mental health, but clearly I'm...
But you don't have an Instagram account, mate.
Oh, well, that's, yeah, clearly
That's why he's always
understand.
happy.
That's true.
So we saw that you interviewed the PM. How did that go?
Great. I mean, I threw my question out there and I think it was a strong question. I think it's really important that we discuss the fact that 1 in 2 Aussies, young Aussies particularly, are super anxious, chronically anxious about our future. And what did he have to say? Well, you saw.
See previous discussion about internet, but anyway, I'll leave that alone. The thing about it is he spoke to you and then earlier today he had this to say in Parliament. We just saw it. Let's see it again.
Well, Mr. Speaker, they are delulu with no salulu, Mr. Speaker. They are completely delusional.
All right, was that your fault?
It actually wasn't. But I do think the way that politicians are engaging with, influencers and non-traditional media is fundamentally changing. So I don't blame him for trying to throw that in.
That was a bit cringe, though, wasn't it? A little bit cringe?
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Why do you think the government wanted the influencer coverage?
Because we can access audiences that they can't. I think traditional media is not reaching the way that influencers can, and content creators and educators on platforms and social media is playing a really important role when we know that civic knowledge, particularly in school students, is at an all-time low. This is how we're learning about our country and the choices that our government is making.
How would you advise Jim Chalmers on how to go viral on budget night? Should he do a Get Ready With Me video?
Maybe dropping something really crucial to youth mental health. That would go viral.
I don't understand the algorithm at all, apparently. Clearly not. Millie Rose, thank you very much for joining us.
Now, it's a nerve-wracking time, budget time, especially for those involved. Treasurer Jim Chalmers and Finance Minister Katie Gallagher, they fronted the press today. They had the budget in hand. They obviously had meetings. They pumped each other up. But I think Katie might have let their little mantra out.
Keep smiling. No.
Just keep smiling. Same mantra I have when I try Nick Cody's cooking.
It's pretty good. Good beef Wellington.
Oh, wow.
Keep
I'll just smile
smiling,
through that
Ollie. Keep smiling. Time for a break. We'll see you soon.
Watching the project.
Time to see what else is making news today. And a handful of anti-war protesters have tried to disrupt Victoria's Avalon Air Show this morning, briefly stopping traffic before police moved them off the road. They were targeting the more than 800 aviation and weapons manufacturers involved in the event.
On these trade days, I think the main issue is that these people from these companies are rubbing shoulders. They are showing off their wares, which are death machines.
The protesters have other airshow rallies planned this week in a bid to deter spectators. More than 250,000 people are expected to attend.
Fresh data has revealed price pressures in Australia are easing, with monthly inflation falling by 0.1% to 2.4% in February. Annual underlying inflation also fell to 2.7%, down from 2.8%. However, analysts don't expect it will be enough to convince the Reserve Bank to deliver another interest rate cut just yet. The RBA board meets next week.
And for Gen Z and millennials, it seems it's a case of doing anything to see their favourite artists live. We all know how pricey concert tickets have become, but recent data has revealed Gen Z are going into massive debt just to secure seats. Other research found 30% will use rent money or even a mortgage payment just to ensure they can get to big concerts. I reckon the rent money's probably understandable. Can they afford houses?
So they don't have mortgages.
I feel like you've got to make a choice: Taylor Swift or buy a house. You can't do both.
Well, I think it's so. Do you think it's so out of reach for people that they've gone, I'm just going to enjoy my money?
I think that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, and also a great free thing you could do: come to the project audience.
Yeah.
I charge these guys, but they don't know it's free, and I make their money. And it's very affordable.
So this is the last time you'll be able to do that. Now that you've spoiled the seat.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, can we? This isn't live, right? Can we delete that?
Sorry, mate.
All right, it's time for a look at who's making waves in the Aussie music world this week.
My word, have we been spoiled for new tunes of late? Congrats to Mia Ray, who's topped the ARIA Australian Albums chart. While the boys from Lime Cordiale have jumped into a hearse to bring us Love Is Off the Table. Backstage, they've been binging Severance.
Can't wait for this episode.
While we're talking the telly, have you caught Kylie starring as her way too talented self in Netflix murder mystery The Residents?
I know there's a lot of people grumbling, but not the Australians.
And Dua Lipa has covered our Queen of Pop on her tour Down Under. And surprised fans with special guests Vance Joy and Troye Sivan. That's ARIA Amplified.
Potholes have become a plague on our roads and we all hate them. Yes. So with an election around the corner, does the humble pothole have the power to bring down a government?
Look at this pothole. Look at this pothole, brother.
If there's one gripe that unites Aussie drivers, it's potholes.
Bro, there's literally another one down here. So in case you missed the first one...
This single pothole in Melbourne's southeast taking out 25 cars in a matter of hours.
Oh, shit!
This is the sort of stuff that we're dealing with everywhere, all day, every day.
Ryan Milgate's family have been farming in the Wimmera region in Victoria for 150 years, braving the state's pothole-ridden regional roads, often on 600k round trips.
We get some huge potholes. Nearly every time you go in the truck, you have some sort of close call. We've had a car hit the side of our truck late last year. The driver of the car was actually really lucky. Half a second earlier, and the outcome could have been a totally different story.
Ryan says while conditions in his area have been bad since before he started driving, the risks are now reaching crisis levels.
It's just really intense now to drive on these roads in the condition they are. You know, we've got families, we've got school buses, we've got, road freight. The consequences if something happens are just, I really don't want to think about what could actually happen.
And drivers are usually left to foot the bill from pothole damage.
Hitting a pothole can cost you thousands of dollars, especially if you buckle a rim. And depending on the type of car you're driving and the insurance that you have, some insurance policies won't cover this, or the excess will be so expensive that it just isn't worth going through insurance.
And if you think potholes are getting worse, you're right, particularly in regional areas. In the Victorian town of Inverloch, locals are taking drastic measures to highlight the problem. Last year, at least 44,000 potholes were reported to local councils via the app Snap Send Solve. That's up 41% on the last year. And while reports in Queensland were up a whopping 140%, Victoria had the most by number.
Can someone tell me what is with the potholes?
Some of our worst potholes include this one in Gippsland in Victoria, deep enough for an entire witch's hat. This beast southwest Sydney, this one northeast of Perth. And then this monster in Tamworth, which has been there 5 years. And fixing them isn't cheap, costing taxpayers up to $4 billion a year.
We've got a combination of things that are causing more of these potholes to appear. Part of it's weather. The more rain you get, the quicker these potholes form and the quicker they grow in size, and also the bigger cars that we have on the road.
Local councils manage 3/4 of Aussie roads, but rely heavily on federal grants to fix potholes. But those grants haven't kept up with inflation. Remote councils often have fewer means to raise money and underspend on road maintenance by 75%, compared to 14% in our cities.
This is New South Wales' worst road. Look at this f***ing crater, man.
Yesterday's federal budget saw a massive $17 billion promised to road and rail projects over the next 10 years. But most of that money is going to major highway upgrades.
Road maintenance funding, unfortunately, is falling away as quickly as the roads themselves. Labour rates have increased, materials have increased in cost, so local councils where a lot of these potholes are forming simply don't have the money or the resources to fix them at the rate that they're appearing.
I don't know who the mayor is of Bankstown, but these potholes need to go.
Potholes are the bane of our existence. We report them, we ask for extra funding, but nothing seems to be coming down our way. We can go to the moon, but we can't fix our potholes. I just don't quite understand.
Ben Smith is running as an independent federal candidate for the largely rural Victorian electorate of Flinders on the Mornington Peninsula.
There is an absolute need for federal government to kick in more money into local communities. We just appear to be left behind constantly. It appears to me that the further you get away from Canberra, the worse the potholes get.
The statistics are shocking. Regional Australians are 5 times more likely to die in road accidents than people in cities. 64% of drivers say potholes and poor road conditions were their biggest safety concern on regional Victorian roads last year, up from 46% in 2021.
When you've got a single lane highway travelling at 80 to 100 kilometres an hour each way and somebody discovers or doesn't discover a pothole, there is a significant risk. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm getting a phone call from a family who's hit a pothole and had to crash into a tree.
Regional Australians are crying out for investment in road maintenance and road infrastructure that's fit for purpose. Meaningful investment in that absolutely will sway people on how they vote on polling day.
I've done about 30 or 40 events in the last 6 weeks, and every single one of them, people have been saying to me, look, potholes are really concerning for me. It's right next to things like cost of living because it matters to people every single day. They're experiencing it. People want their roads fixed.
Your guys reacting to those potholes was something
like, finally we're getting serious on this show. There's a pothole near here that gets me so often that they try to fix it. It's on Hoddle Street in Melbourne, and they fix it for like a week, bang, it's opened again. I was trying to find someone to write to about it. Like, I'm off potholes.
Well, you can write to the project because apparently they'll do a story on it.
You're actually doing it now. You're sorting it.
Wait, am I a powerful media figure? Hang on a second.
It's crazy though, because an inconvenience in the city, right, as we just saw in regional areas, can mean the difference between kind of life and death. If you hit a pothole while you're doing 100, like, that's terrifying.
And as a politician, you've got to be careful with your slogan. You don't want to just come out and say, "I'll fill your holes."
No, it doesn't.
You've just got to be careful. You know what I mean? That's why I'm not a poly. I'm just watch out for that.
You're watching the project. We'll see you soon. Well, it's been a marathon day of big budget business. There were surprise tax cuts, cost of living sweeteners, winners and losers, and we finally got to wheel out our AI office chatbot, Wally GPT.
We thought it would be a snooze fest, but against all the odds, this pre-election budget delivered a surprising amount of action.
They are Delulu with no Salulu.
A dead weight, Mr. Speaker.
A cruel hoax.
Extinction salmon.
The headliner no one saw coming? Tax cuts for everyone.
We've topped up the tax cuts from last year.
To find out more, we turned to AI.
Wally GPT, what do these tax cuts mean for local morons like us that need cash?
Fast.
It means from mid-next year, everyone earning 45k or more will get up to $268 extra in their pay slip. That's about $5 a week, and up to $536 extra from 2027. That's $10 a week.
If it keeps going up, by 2030 we'll be...
That'd be, do you have a calculator?
No, I'll take my shoes off, we'll count toes.
The toes, yeah, perfect.
Beauty.
The Prime Minister's cruel hoax of a budget offers cash-strapped Australian families 70 cents a day in 15 months' time.
The Shadow Treasurer voted against tax cuts for every Australian worker.
Another big budget boost, $8.4 billion to make GP visits cheaper and $690 million for cheaper medicines.
So how are we going to access cheaper, hardcore meds? Just asking for a mate.
The government is pledging to cut the price of medicines on the pharmaceutical benefits scheme from $31.60 to no more than $25 per script.
He said bucks.
Yeah.
It's more relaxed than the actual Wally.
Other budget measures include foreign investors being banned from buying existing homes, a $200 million freeze on the draft beer excise, And a ban on non-compete clauses for workers earning up to $175K. The biggest loser, the budget bottom line, with a deficit of $27.6 billion.
I'll tell you who's really worse off, and that is the next generation of Australians.
That's cool, Jane Hume, but what about the next generation of pandas?
Yeah. Over 10 years, the 2 giant pandas at Adelaide Zoo will get an extra $7.6 million.
$7.6 million? Surely they'll have sex for that amount of money.
Oh, paint me black and white and put me in a cage.
We don't pretend that the job is finished. One of the reasons we're asking Australians respectfully for another term in government is because we know that there's more work to do.
The budget's brought out a whole new side to you, Nick. Sam Maiden joins us now. Sam, how many of these budget lockups have you done over the years?
Look, more than some people get for murder.
And what do you give this one out of 10 then?
Look, I'd give it a 6 out of 10. I thought there were some interesting parts of it. You know, obviously Medicare needs a bit of a boost. I think the tax cuts are a bit complicated because they cost too much and they deliver too little. They cost $17 billion, but you only get $5 in the first year and then $10 thereafter. So I think it's a bit of a mixed bag, but they're certainly trying hard. And I think that the Labor Party would be pretty happy. They've got a story to tell now.
Well, that story is the interesting bit. I mean, you say they're expensive, $17 billion. That is over 4 years. So it's not, you know, a colossal amount of money. The thing that struck me about them is that they're so minimal. They're sort of less than meets the eye there, and yet it's the only thing everyone's talking about today. Is this weird, or is that actually the whole point?
Well, I think that basically they want to suggest that they're giving everybody a little bit of extra cost of living relief. The question is how effective it is, of whether you could spend that $17 billion in a different way. It's about twice, for example, what they're spending on Medicare. And I take your point about you know, like how much it costs over a period. But they're still expensive. I mean, like, I'm not sure how much they're paying you at Channel 10, but I still think $17 billion is a lot of money. And it's just a question of how effective it is, I think, really.
I'll email you the Channel 10 budget when we're off air. But on these tax cuts then, I mean, if this is the main centrepiece and if they're meant to win people over, do you think they will? Or do you think that voters are going to be thankful for this and respond accordingly at the ballot box?
I think that that's a really big question. I mean, Jim Chalmers makes a point, and fair enough, that you've got to see them cumulatively. You're not getting $10 a week if you look at it that way. You're getting $50 a week. But it remains to be seen whether the voters will go, fair enough, we're not going to kick you out after one term, not completely happy with you, but we'll give you another go. Or whether Peter Dutton has some shiny and new things that he's going to reveal very shortly that blows it out of the water.
Did anything in the budget surprise you?
No, look, I don't think there was anything wildly surprising. I wondered if they were going to do something with tax cuts. I'd asked Albo that question a couple of weeks before and he didn't rule it out. But I was, I suppose, surprised that it was interesting to see that the Treasurer, after doing that surgery on the original coalition tax cuts to make it fairer to lower and middle income earners, he's just giving, it's almost like a flat tax cut. It doesn't matter if you earn $50,000 or $500,000, you get the same $268 in the first year and $500 odd in the second.
All right, Sam, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, from one Sam to another. Me, the way it should be, really. Look, the federal budget's out there. It's all anyone's talking about. Finance Minister Katie Gallagher, it's a big moment for her. And let me tell you, she's really got her groove back. It's exciting. Like, she's chilling out. She's asking questions. Look how relaxed she is working the room today.
Katie?
Yeah, and Dom, is it your birthday today? Yes. Oh, happy birthday. Yeah. Lee? Finn. Nice name. I was going to name my son Finn, but his last name is Skinner.
Oh.
So it would be Finn Skinner. So Finn Skin. Didn't work. So he's Charlie. It's the backward walking crew. It's a special skill. I like embarrassing people.
Katie knows all of your birthdays.
I know that certainly the three people standing behind me are into me.
Thanks very much, everyone. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Wow.
Sorry, Jim.
Sorry, Jim. And if you like that, guys, you can catch her show at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival for the next month. Good luck, Katie.
Wow, there's more project on the way, so stick around.
Coming up. Welcome back. Welcome to the project.
Let's get some more news now. And another iconic Aussie retailer has collapsed, putting hundreds of Australian jobs at risk. Jeans West has gone into voluntary administration and will close more than 90 physical stores across the country. This is sad. The owners say shoppers are simply spending less due to the higher cost of living. Stock will now go on sale as administrators work to restructure the brand as an online-only business.
Jeans West been around for just over 50 years. They did go into voluntary administration in 2020, were saved from that, but obviously the new owners were unable to make this a viable business.
And with that, so goes Sam's plan B in life. Apple's latest clever idea could provide a real boost for Aussies who have mild to moderate hearing loss. It secured TGA approval for an Australian software release that turns its $400 Pro 2 AirPods into clinical-grade hearing aids. The upgrade allows users to perform hearing tests through the pods via an iPhone or an iPad. Apple insists it's not trying to replace conventional hearing aids.
And a money mystery is unfolding at Kiama on the New South Wales south coast after a bag of cash was found washed up on a town beach. Locals hit the water after hearing about banknotes floating in the surf, coming out with wads of $100 notes.
What?
The find was reported to police, who are now investigating. It's not known if the money is counterfeit or connected to drugs.
I'll tell you what, last year it was bricks of cocaine, now it's cash. Poseidon is a loose unit.
Yeah. What is he getting up to down there?
The Greek got a good time. So
guys, this is kind of where I grew up, south coast of New South Wales, so I just wanted, that is my money, so, I want, get it back to me, please.
Why would you report it to police?
What a nerd.
Absolute nerd.
What a narc.
Yeah, I know, totally. It's weird to find stuff, on the beach, unless you're like, you see the blokes with the metal detectors? I'm always I get your marriage has gone bad, but what are you doing, but... There's money to be made at the beach.
What are the rules, as the lawyer on the panel? What are the rules if you do find cash?
There is a finders keepers rule, but you first have to report it. So you get there has to be a reasonable prospect that someone who's lost it can reclaim it, and if they don't, then you're next in line.
How long is that? How long does that usually take?
But could there be, so say if you report it to the police, right, can they do the finders keepers rule and be like, well, we've actually found it?
Yeah.
No. Because you did the finding. But
finding it's subjective, right?
A brazen criminal has to turn up and say, all my cash fell off my jet ski. And I'm here to claim it. Come on, please work. Please work.
Oh, guys. All right, let's do it, huh? Nick, do you know what? I've been noticing something. It's getting harder and harder to do quality journalism. And if you want proof, just read the Daily Mail.
Personally, Sam, I think real journalism died 10 years ago. Rip Zoom magazine. This one's for you.
That's it. Pour one out, guys. Now, to encourage the community to donate, an American medical centre is paying blood donors in weed. Man, that little box drink and the chocky is going to taste pretty good after that. Now, unfortunately, the program has left Snoop Dogg in a critical condition.
Elon Musk has claimed 1 million people could be living on Mars in just 20 years. Now, to be clear, he's just counting himself and his kids.
Probably won't visit then. Now, scientists have discovered that traffic noise makes some birds upset and angry, giving them, quote, road rage. Now, this explains that when I cut a pigeon off in traffic the other day, he shat on my car. It's also quite strange. I don't get it. There's questions like, why did the chicken cross the road? I think it should be, who taught the pigeon to drive a Kia Sorento? You got wings, brother. Get out of the traffic.
American police have arrested a man for allegedly using a finger gun to rob a store. The clerk got suspicious when the would-be robber went pew pew.
Pew pew. A British man fulfilled his dying wish. This was his dying wish, to be buried in a Snickers-themed coffin. Wow. How did he die? My guess, peanut allergy. It's a sweet story, though. It is very nice. He was buried next to his wife, who was in a Kit Kat coffin, broken into 4 pieces and then lowered into the ground.
Italian police are looking for a man in a Mickey Mouse costume who is posing for photos, then pulling a knife if people refuse to hand over cash. Wow. Demanding cash sounds Italian. I hate to pay the tax. Oh. That's Italian Mickey Mouse. Thank you. Yes. Italian criminal Mickey Mouse.
Masterful stuff, Nick. Hey, holy hell. Now, doctors in Switzerland are prescribing visits to art galleries and museums for people that are stressed and sick. I reckon they should just get Nick Cody to do an accent for them, personally. But that's crazy. You have to go to a museum. So if I'm sick and want a doctor's certificate, I have to go to the museum. Here I was thinking euthanasia was the grimmest thing a Swiss doctor could do.
The studies show that people are getting dumber, with many struggling to concentrate, solve problems.
Nick. Read the process information is the next bit. Nick.
Oh, sorry, man, zoned out.
What? No, we are getting dumber. They're right, the scientists.
The scientists? We're not getting dumber. Scientists are your dogs.
Finally, guys, a Polish community is reeling after the restoration of its 200-year-old Virgin Mary statue left it looking like a Simpsons character. Look at it. It does look like a Simpsons character. Now, what is crazy is that the Simpsons actually predicted this in 2005. Look at Marge there. And what's even crazier is my prediction that the next 200-year-old Virgin will be Nick Cody.
Golly! And that was...
Well, some stuff.
Do you want to throw to the break in that accent?
You're watching... Oh, you want me to do Mickey Mouse? You're watching the project back after this, all right?
This is the project.
Hey, an American man has gone viral after going to great lengths to solve a wildlife problem on his North Carolina property. So this is the footage. He's dancing around in a bear costume to scare off a real bear that had been hanging around. It worked.
That's genius.
It's extraordinary.
What? That's what you meant to do, though, because that's a black bear. They're the smaller ones. I came across one in Alaska.
Yeah.
I was by myself, and I remember I was on a mountain bike, and the guy told me if you come across one, get big and make a lot of noise. So I got as big as I could, and I played rap music off my phone.
You should
have. And we had the sickest party ever.
You should have done the Mickey Mouse voice. It would have run away.
Now, speaking of music, off the back of her huge tour announcement, I sat down with global superstar Camila Cabello to chat about surviving her 20s, her new music and alternative milks.
Camila Cabello is the definition of a hit maker, from girl group beginnings to huge pop stardom. After years in the spotlight, her latest album is her most honest yet, and she's bringing it to Australia on tour.
Camila, we are so excited about you coming back to Australia, and in your rider, your Aussie rider, you've already made two very specific requests. I've got the Tim Tams.
Oh, you're such a tease.
But real milk? Come on, that's not like a regular pop star request.
I know, you're expecting like pistachio milk or... Oat milk. Honestly, first of all, my hot take is it's not even a hot take. That milk is not even good for you. Like oat milk is not good for you. It's like pasta juice. It's just starch.
Yep.
So I'm back to the olden days with the real milk.
I'm with you on that. And almond milk, it's not milk. Call it what it is. Nut juice.
It's nut juice. It's nut water. And almond milk, it tastes like cardboard water.
Hey, the Yours Sea Tour will be your most expansive official world tour to date. So what kind of show are we going to see?
Expansive is actually a great word to describe it, because it's kind of going to take you through all the chapters of my career and be a celebration of all of the different kind of eras of my music. So I think it's going to be really, really fun. I feel like my fans will be really happy.
We often see you performing on a merry-go-round. How do you not get dizzy riding that thing?
I do. There was actually one time where my mom saw me from the side stage, and she saw that I was closing my eyes and I wasn't getting up for a minute or so, and I did pass out.
What?
There was one time in Mexico where I had altitude sickness, and the merry-go-round was kind of shaped differently, and it was spinning so fast that I literally passed out.
Oh.
And then I regained consciousness in time for the next song. I actually don't think we'll be bringing the merry-go-round back.
Your latest album sums up being in your 20s and all the angst and feelings that comes with that decade. I'm old, but I do remember that decade for me, it was hard. I didn't know what I was doing. What's been hard about your 20s for you?
My God, do we have 5 hours? I think I struggled with a lot of anxiety, and I think it was hard to manage. My emotions were hard to manage. It can really overpower you if you don't have the tools and awareness to not have them mishandle you.
Yeah, it's a decade of enormous growth.
Yeah.
I've got to say, I loved the video that you posted about women being at war with themselves.
Being at war with your body is so last season. We are real women with curves and cellulite and stretch marks.
I'm 43, and that hit me. Why did you post that?
I think it's obviously important to be healthy and feel good, but it can feel like it's such a distraction from enjoying your life and living your life to feel like you have to look a certain way. Besides doing your job well, besides being a good friend, besides being a good human being, it's you have to just keep these appearances up. It's exhausting. I still feel like that every day.
Godspeed is such a beautiful, heartbreaking song, and there's one line that stands out for me. You sing, 15 since I do this, 26 I choose this.
15 since I do this, 26 I choose this.
Was there a time where you weren't choosing it, and are you choosing it now?
So many times. I mean, so many times where it's been too much pressure, too much stress, too much anxiety, and I've been why do I do this? I just want to I don't know, to have babies and make food for them all day, or I want to I don't know, go do anything that's just not this hard. But I think what keeps me coming back is I still have a hunger for it, a hunger to make my best song and make my best thing. But there's definitely, oh my God, literally probably 5 times a year, I'm why do I do this? I don't want to do this anymore.
We cannot wait to have you back in Australia. Come and see us in the studio when you're here. Make time for us. We've got Tim Tams. We've got real milk.
Oh,
we'd love to have you.
I'm there. Just keep that nut juice away from me, and I'm there.
She's such a cool chick. And she's coming to Australia in August. Tickets are on sale this week.
All right, it's the global hit sending Aussie comedians wild. Taskmaster Australia is back.
Competing for the Taskmaster Trophy are 5 comedians. Sorry, 4 comedians and Lisa McCune.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, 3 comedians and Tommy Little and Lisa McCune. Sorry, I'll start again. Competing are 5 humans. Sorry, 4 humans and Dave Hughes.
Please welcome the tough-loving Taskmaster himself, Tom Gleeson.
Thanks for having me.
You really seem to like this season's cast.
Yeah, well, it's such a treat hosting Taskmaster because I just get to pay out my friends on national TV, and it's an absolute treat. I mean, Dave Hughes, there's so much material there.
Yeah.
Some people said to me, oh, Dave Hughes is in the cast. I don't know if I'm going to be watching that. I'm like, it's win-win. If you like him, you can watch him win. If you hate him, you can watch me pay him out for losing.
What I love about Taskmaster, and I think everyone watches it, almost the failure of the simple tasks are true. When it's complex, it's oh, I get it, that's quite difficult.
Yeah.
But when you see these people stuff up the easiest possible things, are you ever in a position where you're
when you say people, you can say Tommy Little.
Yes.
That's fine.
Right, yes.
Because he does stuff up the simple tasks very frequently.
Right. And are you ever I can't even be funny about this because I feel sorry for you?
Oh, no, I always think I could be funny about it because I usually just think of what they're feeling the most self-conscious about and then amplify that to make them feel worse.
Yeah. Like schoolyard bullying?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm like the opposite of someone who works for Lifeline. You ring me, and I make you feel worse.
Great, okay.
What simple tasks do you struggle with, if any? I can't see you owning up to this.
Nailing everything. Yeah. What do I do poorly? Oh, that's good. Panel shows, I'm not particularly good at. Live TV, I really struggle with. Especially when you have to do comedy mixed with current affairs. That's a bloody nightmare. I'm here, I come in as a guest, Sarah's talking to some artist I don't give a shit about, and then I've got to come on and try to be entertaining after that. It's bloody hopeless, and I ruin the whole network. Anyway, and I keep getting invited back. And then Taskmasters, we just shot Series 5, so I'm going to come on to the project every other month.
Oh, really?
Anyway,
That's exciting.
Yeah, I know, it's annoying.
Hey, I want to ask you about something else. Are you familiar with this?
And you gotta be aggressive to
in the crowd.
Oh, yeah, that was a band I used to be in, yeah.
Oh, you were in a band?
Yeah, I was in a band. I played drums in that band, yeah.
That's you drumming right now.
That's me drumming in that band, yeah, that's me. Andrew Hansen, who people might know from The Chaser.
Oh.
Cameron Bruce, who now plays with Paul Kelly. And James Fletcher, who now works for the BBC in London. Basically, we were better apart than together.
Who's Leslie?
Leslie was just a friend of ours from uni.
And why was she so fantastic?
Leslie was a man.
Why was he so fantastic?
Really fantastic, Leslie, okay?
I don't know, we just liked him. We used to call him the Fantastic Leslie, so we just called the band the Fantastic Leslie.
You know, it's a time to experiment and all that kind of stuff.
Are you going to get the band back together ever?
Oh, well, there's no demand for it, so probably not. Probably not.
Now, sorry, Tom. We spoke with your loyal sidekick, Tom Cashman, on Monday. Now, the problem is he's on the show way more than you are.
Yeah, it is true.
Are you his sidekick?
Well, to be fair, he does run the tasks at the Taskmaster House. I'm only in studio. He probably does get a bit more screen time than me, but that's okay because he needs it. You know, I don't need that validation. I don't need the money. Everyone knows I'm already good at comedy, whereas I'm really trying to, you know, give him a career. Yeah, because he wanted, you know, they wanted me on screen more. They wanted me over at the house. I said, no. Send Tom Cashman over there. He needs more screen time.
Okay.
No one knows who he is.
Right. Is there ever a world where you could fire the assistant if he doesn't start performing?
Oh, I didn't even think of that, but I probably could. Yeah, I could get an even lesser Tom than lesser Tom. I could get Tommy Little to step in. Yeah. And then after that, fire him and get Tom Ballard and really slum it.
Yeah. No.
Taking shots at comics not even on the show.
Yeah.
I love it.
Now, also speaking of this, Rove is going to be on the show.
Yes.
On Taskmaster coming up now.
Yeah. So we just shot.
Following season.
Yeah. So this is series 4 that's coming up on tomorrow night, 8:30, and then we just shot series 5 with Rove. Yeah.
Right. Now he's kind of a big deal around here. Do you take him down a peg? What's the vibe?
Well, it was a bit awkward because he used to be my boss because I worked on a show called Skid House years ago where he was the boss of that.
Yes.
But on this show, I was his boss. So I turned the tables and I don't regret it at all. I may have compromised a friendship.
Right, okay. That's exciting. Any tips for how I can deal with him?
Oh, really? Just don't point out the fact that you look the same age, and that's weird, because you're not. Yeah. That's the weird thing when you think about it. Rove and I are the same age. What have I done wrong?
The new season of Taskmaster Australia starts tomorrow at 8:30 on 10 and 10 Play. Would you please thank Tom Gleeson?